Hi, my name is Katherine. Welcome to Starlight Garden. I grow medicinal plants and heirloom veggies in southeast Atlanta. In this video, I'm going to share with you guys some of the stuff I'm learning as I start this second spring on my tiny farm. Some of my fails, some of my triumphs, and some of the stuff that I've learned the hard way. It's spring, which means there is so much to do here on the garden. I have all of the baby seedlings that I started in the greenhouse getting bigger, and so they need to be watered more often. The greenhouse is hotter, so I have to open it up and air it out every day. Whoop. The the chickens are laying again and getting really active, scratching up worms and in their shenanigans. Some of the medicine is already ready to be harvested. Plantains, calendula flowers, all sorts of herbs are ready for me to start cutting and drying them. Chickweed, a bunch of edible flowers are starting to bloom, and there's a lot of work to be done all at once. Of course, I decided that I was going to start a new bed for cut flowers, and a few veggies have snuck into the planting plan, but alongside my fence over on my property too. So things are going crazy in my garden at home and my garden here in this vacant lot in my neighborhood. One of my favorite things that happened recently was that I was able to regrow some giant marigolds from seeds I saved last year. So that was the first time that I did not have to buy seeds from anyone to start my crops. Yay for a gardening milestone. I've got some oregano here that is back, and it is about 5 times as big and vigorous as it was last year. That's very exciting. And I also have lavender hyssop coming back, and I did not know that it was gonna come back. So that is so exciting. It has the most delicious licorice taste to its flowers and leaves, and the flowers are just the most beautiful purple, and bees absolutely love them. As you can see here, we have weeded and spread some fresh compost out on top of the beds. We're gonna amend the soil before we add this year's spring plant babies. I want to show you guys something from my seed experiment that ended up being a total fail. Do you remember my idea of using these popsicle sticks as my plant markers because they were plastic free? Well, it was a great idea in theory, but the wood wicked up the water and the sunlight essentially boiled all the marker off of the sticks, and the labels are gone. I don't know what's a cucumber and what's a squash right now. I've had to replace them with these plastic markers over here. One thing that's interesting about this experiment with my tiny farm is that The tiny farm has become the total boss of me. At this time of year, if you don't get your seeds in at the right time or you don't water at the right time, then you don't get a spring garden. You can't plant spring things later in the year because they won't germinate, or they won't have the right pollinators, or it'll be too hot and they won't set flowers. If I don't get my squash in the ground in time, then squash bugs will come and eat it before I get even one delicious squash. And if I don't get my tomatoes planted in time, then it gets above 85 degrees and the tomato vines will get big, but their little yellow flowers will just fall off instead of making tomatoes. So spring planting has to happen in the spring, and all the chores of the farm have to happen every day or you lose your investment. If I don't check on my seed babies in the greenhouse, they might get too hot and wither and die. If I don't water things, they won't flower. If I don't move something that's not in the right place, it's not going to thrive. So all of those things tell me what to do all day long, every day. If it doesn't rain, then the garden is telling me I have to water it. And these are all demands, which are hard for me. I don't like to be told what to do, not even by my garden. And I think that's a really good thing to know about yourself before you get started in a farm project or a hobby farm, because you're not going to be a different person once you start gardening. I know that's kind of a fantasy, that when you go to a back to basics simple life that you're going to be different. You're not. You're going to be the same. You might be happier, but you're still going to be you. So don't take on things that you're not going to be able to follow through on, and do not grow vegetables that you don't like to eat. You're not going to suddenly be somebody who loves kale. If you just like tomatoes, it's okay to only grow tomatoes. Look at these collard blossoms. Did you know that collards could bloom and make such gorgeous flowers? I didn't. I learned stuff every day on this tiny farm. It's an experiment that I started about 1.5 years ago because I was curious about moving out into the country, away from the big city. I'm an Atlanta girl and I wanted a simpler, slower paced life. So instead of relocating my family, I decided to start this tiny farm on a vacant lot in my neighborhood. It's an interesting experiment. I'm learning a lot. I hope that you'll subscribe and follow me for more adventures. I lost my shoe trying to talk and walk at the same time. Hi, sweet girl. What you doing? Basil, come see me. Thanks for watching. Bye, y'all.